My name is Elyse Byrd. I live in Montana near Glacier National Park. Behind me is one of the beautiful sights of Glacier. I'm passionate in preserving the place I call home. However, I know that melting glaciers doesn't just affect the locals of Montana. It affects the world, which is why I chose to interview my inspiration for women empowerment, climate change scientist, Lisa McKeon.
My name is Lisa McKeon, and I work for the USGS in Glacier National Park. And what we've been doing for over 20 years is looking at climate change impacts to Glacier National Park. One of the jobs that I have, or the projects that I've specifically worked on, is the repeat photography project. And in that project, we have gone to the historic archives, found good photos of glaciers, and then we go back to the same spot, repeat the photograph, and make a comparison and see how the glacier has changed. And primarily we did that just to document the change in the last, some of the spans can be as much as 100 years.
What is the focus of your research?
The focus of the repeat photography project is to document changes in glaciers in Glacier National Park specifically. And so we've done that by retaking photos of historic photos of glaciers and comparing them. The idea was just to document the change, and then these photos became very popular to communicate the change and climate change impacts. And so now they're actually become almost more of a communication tool and an education tool, and used for a lot of outreach.
Why did this type of work interest you, and how did you get started?
I got started with this project early on when I came to work in Glacier National Park. And I came to Glacier because I grew up here and I loved this place very much and this landscape. And so early on in 1997, someone had brought in one of these photographs, a paired photograph showing the change in Boulder Glacier. And my boss at the time, Dan Freggery, thought that it was just a really interesting and visual way to document changes in glaciers. And so we began a whole project and traipsing around the park and trying to find these spots, and also trying to find good historic images, which fortunately in Glacier National Park there are many, because we had a lot of historic use in the park because it is a national park.
What motivated you to study climate change and its effects on glaciers?
I was motivated to do this research because I think it's really impactful, and it's part of what is happening in our world. It's one of the most visual impacts. Certainly 20 years ago it was one of the most visual impacts. There's plenty of other examples now, but it's been a great communication tool, and I've been really happy to be part of a team who's worked to bring more climate change awareness in Glacier National Park.
What is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job is, I would have to say, going in search of these photographs. It's more of a challenge than people might think. You think, oh, here's the photo, and I kind of know where it is because I'm pretty familiar with the park, and I use Google Earth a lot to kind of hone in on exactly where the photo is. But it's really a puzzle when you get out in the field and you're trying to find the exact spot where the photographer stood so you can get the exact same photo, years apart. So it's kind of the challenge and the beauty. And I would say the other part that I really love about my job is that my work is so accessible to all kinds of people. You don't need to know how to understand a complex data graph or whatever. The pictures are visual, they're really easy to interpret. Children can interpret them, adults.
What is the biggest threat to glaciers?
Climate change is the biggest threat to glaciers.